The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, Lord.
A man named John was sent from God. He came for testimony, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. And this is the testimony of John. When the Jews from Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to him to ask him, "Who are you?" he admitted, and did not deny it, but admitted, "I am not the Christ." So they asked him, "Well, who then are you? Are you Elijah?" And he said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." So they said to him, "Who are you? So that we can give an answer to those who sent us. What do you have to say for yourself?" He said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the desert, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as Isaiah the prophet said." Some Pharisees were also sent, and they asked him, "Why then do you baptize, if you are not the Christ, or Elijah, or the prophet?" And John answered them, "I baptize with water. But there is one among you whom you do not recognize, the one who is coming after me, whose sandal strap I am not worthy to untie." This happened in Bethany, across the Jordan, where John was baptizing. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Normally, this Sunday marks the approximate midpoint of Advent. This year, however, it's a little bit strange because we're 2/3 of the way through. And that may give a little bit of a sense of urgency, or it may simply sharpen our anticipation. We don't have so long to wait. We don't have so long to prepare. And that may mean that we have to let go of a lot of things that ordinarily we might busy ourselves about to prepare. Certainly you all have been very busy these last few weeks, and hopefully can relax in this last week before celebration of the Lord's coming. And perhaps, especially for the sisters who have been so busy and who performed so very beautifully last night after 3 weeks of dress rehearsal. That was so nice. That was so nice to be able to benefit from, all of that preparation. Well, hopefully, you can kind of take the clue from John the Baptist. Now that you have witnessed to the Lord and his love, and did so very eloquently, allow yourselves to be that nothing that John affirmed that he is. We speak most eloquently of Christ when we, first of all, deny ourselves, put ourselves in perspective. And I always say that doesn't mean, poor self-image or, some kind of unhealthy, pathological putting of oneself down. What it means is you have to be fully in possession of yourself in order to be able to say, "Hey, I'm not the one that you're looking for. I'm not the one who is front and center." I think that's one of the things that made last night's marvelous performance so beautiful, because it was very clear in both the song and the performing and the testimony that you all gave, that there is another one that we are pointing to. The one whom we love. The one who captivates our lives. And I think that's what John was doing. I always see an interesting little difference between the second Sunday of Advent and the third Sunday of Advent. Both concentrate on John the Baptist. But the second Sunday of Advent seems to show John the Baptist, in a sense, looking backwards. John is the culmination of the revelation of God to his chosen people as the culmination of the prophetic ministry. He is the capstone, if you will, of all that has passed. And the emphasis today is John the Baptist looking forward. And he looks forward most eloquently by, first of all, affirming who he is not. He is empty, as a sign to point to the one who is the true fulfillment. Now, in this ministry, which is sort of Janus-like, isn't it? One face is looking to the back, one face is looking to the past, the other face is looking forward. John is the culmination of the prophetic revelation and formation of a chosen people. And he looks forward and even points to the one who will expand that revelation to the entire world. I like one of the descriptions of the heart of the reality of Jesus coming by saying, Jesus came to make the whole world Jewish. And I think that really is the meaning of his continued presence among us in the Eucharist, which serves his presence in his people. The primary way that the entire world can and should receive the revelation of God is through the presence and action of Jesus in his people. And that's why St. Paul so much emphasized, the Eucharist is nothing if we don't recognize the body. Not the body in the real presence in the Eucharist, that is true, but recognize the body that is the body of Christ, lived out, experienced and lived out in his people. And so the Eucharist, Jesus gave us the Eucharist. Let's face it, he didn't say, take this and adore it. He said, take this and eat it. He said, I want to become one with you. I don't merely want to be an object of adoration. That's not unimportant. I'm not going to downplay that. But that is secondary because his express intention is to make us what we receive. To make us become now, for the world, the sacrament of his real presence, making Christ, making God's love and compassion and mercy, and making the identity of everybody as God's beloved real. So it is up to us. But it's interesting, we go back to kind of our beginning, that we fulfill that mission of being Christ for the world by first of all recognizing who and what we are not. And if we can be self-emptying enough and trusting enough, it is through the sacramental life, the prayer life, the community life, the embracing of the entirety of the traditions of our faith, that we become filled with what truly does communicate the presence of Jesus. So it's kind of with gratitude for the ministry of the entire Pauline family, but the ministry in particular that came to a focus in the concerts and culminating in last night's concert, that we simply give thanks for the way that God is working among his people, and we continue to pray that this work may truly bear fruit, a fruit for the salvation of the world that so badly needs some sign that we do have a loving Father, a loving God.